Hello and welcome to Melgen Castle, my FE4 0% growth playthrough. This castle isn't quite as boring as the last one. Still a lot of random running around the place, but this video isn't 22 minutes long, let's just leave it at that. So now all units are kind of moving over towards Darna Castle, so that they can get in position to seize it later on. Which is the one part where all the crappy 6-move infantry in the game actually do something. And just clearing up, gotta get Leaf as much money / experience as possible before he returns back home to fight in the arena and use his lead ring. So you can see a bunch of enemies just spawn, or if he's gonna more or less solo that front. They don't all get killed, but all the risky ones die. The light sword sold here. I don't actually have to sell it, but it has to be sold at some point because it goes to FE to use. And the light sword is going to essentially be FE's personal weapon from now on, because he has a high 8 magic, which is ridiculous for a male paladin, and with the magic ring and the high might of the lightning spell to begin with, that's good enough to actually one-round a lot of enemies at 1-2 range, all the Wyvern Knights namely. And that's going to be our primary 1-2 range weapon throughout the playthrough, because it's the best one. I'm not really sure whether I like 1-2 range weapons in this game or not. With swords, I think it's kind of cool if they have 1-2 range and it uses the magic stat instead. And I appreciate how for javelins and hand axes, well, the 1-2 range items are really bad. They weigh so much, like the javelin. I feel it really helps to balance things out a little bit more. Whereas in the other games, you can just use 1-2 range weapons willy-nilly. Something that's actually slightly well balanced in FE4. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, you'll see me go off on a bunch of these tangents once again because not much to say. The interesting part of this chapter, the interesting parts, I would say, are the next 2 castles. Well, actually just the next castle. Ulster is just an RNG abuse fest. You're not gonna like my kill of... You're not going to like my kill of Bloom. It's not pretty at all. The first double Hero Sword crit at very low hit rate kill of the playthrough. Fun, fun, fun. You'll be seeing a lot of those. So the reason why Lester moves over there is once again to manipulate the way the AI moves, because they have a distance formula of sorts to determine which direction they go. If I have Lester stand there, the enemies will go over that ridge. If I don't put him there, well, some of the enemies will go over the ridge. If I don't have him do that, then they will all gang up on FE, and considering he's about 4-shotted, all told, like, about 4 hits from an enemy will kill him, I do not want to give him much trouble. And there you just saw Celis dismount. This is the one point in the game where the dismount mechanic's actually useful. The Junior Lord class has a better movement type for traversing desert, even though they lose 3 movement, so that's why he does that. Him being able to cut through the desert fast like that saves a turn here. So the dismount mechanic's actually useful for something. Kind of surprising, because why the hell would you want to give Celis even worse stats than he already has on 0% crits? But yeah, so essentially most of this map Celis does very little. It's almost entirely other people doing things for him, so that once he arrives he can seize without trouble. Such as FE clearing out most of Melgen, and the chumps clearing out Darna. So yeah, I'm going to get people real close over. They could probably contribute further south to make things more reliable, but I'm really going to need all hands up there. Even with LS getting recruited, I cannot easily get by with that while missing some of my chumps. Because I need to advance Julia and Lana really close to the gate, and they both get 2-shotted, so I need a lot of meat shields to keep them from getting hurt. I mean, Alessa's good, but he can't do everything on 0% growth. And yeah, here you see he would get 4-shotted between the Lance users, but he dodged one. And this is why we gave Oifi the Earth Sword. Lana is really too slow to... It's really too slow to do much to Libro him on time. Physic, technically. Played this game for a while, so I'm still used to the old translation patch. Hence, Celis. But, so yeah, he's finally mounted. And Patty and Shannon just playing catch-up. They start in an unfortunate location. I'll play through with growth, so I could probably push them forward faster, because they wouldn't have to spend so much time clearing out Yeed, but do what you gotta do. And yeah, unfortunately my strategy here was kind of suboptimal. While playing through, I misread my notes, so I didn't get all the experience I could have or should have. But I mean, I'm not too worried about Leaf promoting. He has access to 3 arenas. I think I can get him to clear most of them. And in a worst case scenario, he can do some sleep sword abuse to clear it. And he also gets a free 5 or 6 levels, I believe, from saving the fleeing civilians who come out of Manchester Castle. Oh wait, maybe not. I'm still planning for that chapter, so that may or may not be possible, but yeah, I try and shove Leaf all the experience I can get him. Because he's a very important unit for this run. Need him promoted as soon as possible. Which is good. His ability to emulate everything that Laxus does is... Well, I mean, you saw in the last generation how ridiculous the rescue staff is. It just saves so many turns. I think the rescue staff in this game is probably... I'd say in contention for... Well, after Warp, I'd say it's probably the best staff in the series as a whole. It's just so good because of its range, how far you can go with it, and so on. Your Oife moves to be as far out of range of as many enemies as possible. Don't want to rig when I don't have to, and I didn't have to rig there, so... He gets pelted a little bit, but is absolutely fine. Ballista are terrible in this game, like seriously. All they're good for is hurting already weakened units. Like, what can they even do? But, so Leaf, unfortunately, has a bit more trouble clearing out those enemies than he would in a normal playthrough. He has to run around, dodge, and stuff because he gets 2-shotted and doesn't get any stronger. But with rigging continues, it's okay. And an occasional crit, if I have to. He can handle, especially with Finn to help him out. Finn, what a dutiful knight. Helping Leaf out all the time. Even now, he'll even give his life for Leaf later on in the playthrough, I'm pretty sure. Probably Canute, so Finn's life is nearing its end. May he rest in peace. And this is really a boring chapter. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's just nothing going on. One fight and a bunch of units randomly moving around. I mean, to its credit, it is a chapter where even when you're playing at the fast speed, infantry can do a lot, simply because of both where they start off and the position of the castles, how much backtracking and running around cells has to do. It gives you a lot more flexibility and time. But all told, it's still an incredibly boring chapter. Like, just compared to any other chapter in the game, like, I feel Chapter 3 is what Chapter 7 wanted to be. Like, the same thing where you have to go all around the place and do a bunch of things, except slightly more condensed, so you don't get 22-minute long videos with nothing going on, even at sped up. Like, seriously, I can't imagine what it was like to be a Japanese person and play this game on the Super Nintendo for Chapter 7. That just would have been ridiculous. Oh, here I have to rig a crit to take down Lisa. She's powerful, would be hard to dodge. Best to just get her out of the way. And you can see that I'm avoiding getting too close before I have to. That's mostly because Ishtar, his storm, his bolting, it's just, once again, me not switching over from the old translation. His bolting is just so powerful, high accuracy, can deal a lot of damage. One-shot Celis, yeah, not something I want to deal with, so I'm staying away from that. Thankfully, the ballists are pathetic. And I'm lucky with the critical. So Oifi gets back to full health, and that the Earth Sword breaks. I don't think there's much more to the Earth Sword this playthrough. I think it'll see some use in the next chapter, and maybe a bit later on, but I mean, on normal playthrough you wouldn't need it because your units are so strong, but the Earth Sword does a little bit on this playthrough, so thanks, Earth Sword. You did good. Kind of funny how I'm thanking my items, but seriously. I feel Fire Emblem 4 is a game where the items are more important than the units, just because of things like high kills, the rescue staff, how good skills are, and how you can give them to units. They're all so amazing. RNG abuse, and okay, so there's actually a bit of an awkward part later on where, well, essentially I was a bit unsure with how the videos kind of meshed together, as in I mixed up two clips of different playthroughs, so you're going to see that once I'm done RNG abusing, Celis is actually in a different position. In terms of turn count and kills on items and all that stuff, it really makes zero difference. It's just a tiny problem with the continuity of the video, so I didn't feel like re-recording this super long castle. But just know that that's why things are a little weird there. I actually unknowingly changed it so that was so much more reliable, because earlier I had Celis needing to dodge like two mages, a bow, a lance, some ballista, and a bolting from Ishtar, and he only had to dodge a tiny bit this time, so it's actually amazing. So it was actually an accident that I got a far more reliable strategy. But yeah, now it's a bunch of RNG abuse. This doesn't happen in the true ending, that's a lot more reliable, but I was an idiot with my editing, sorry about that, so please skip ahead to 15 minutes. You do not want to watch this. Before I accidentally made that adjustment, this was ridiculously unreliable, so I'll see you again at 15 minutes. And all that completely unneeded and gratuitous RNG abuse isn't actually included in the final playthrough, where you see cells magically teleported to the right. Sorry about that. The recorder I use only lets me do 15 minutes. There was some awkwardness, and I mixed up 2 segments. But yeah, needless to say, it got far more reliable because Ishtor attacked Oifi instead, so that strategy wasn't as unreliable as it seemed. I'm just an idiot when it comes to recording. This is not my specialty. So I'm going to seize Melgen on turn 15. This is the lowest possible, with the exception of having a rescue staff. Lana, there's really, like, no way to get this better, to be better. Because it's limited by how far Celis can move. So Oifi needs a critical and a normal hit on Ishtor to take it out, and that's Melgen Castle completed in 15 turns. The next castle will be better, I promise. Thanks.